listening to the first podcast of the Woman Seeking Art blog. For this podcast, I just wanted to start by introducing myself and how I got involved in art history. I wasn't always planning on being in this career, and especially with my parents and other people who don't really understand what a degree in art history can get you, it's a little bit controversial. But I took the class, and as soon as I started the first day, I just really devoured all of the material, and I got really excited about everything that they were talking about. So I gave it about a couple weeks, and I started thinking that this was really what I wanted to do and that this was kind of my calling. So I decided to change my major, which was definitely a hard thing for me to do because I knew that it was going to be challenging to convince myself and to convince other people what kind of job I could get, what kind of career I would go into once I got that degree. And another challenging part about it was that I would need to transfer to a four-year university, which was something I was not originally planning on doing with my horticulture associates. So on top of having a more specialized field in my education, I also would have to eventually transfer and get a four-year degree, which costs a lot more money than an associate's, a lot more time, dedication. So it was just a lot piling on, and if I didn't love it, I would have talked myself out of it. But I decided that it would be worth it and it'd be worth pursuing. And then it hit me that I would also need to go and get a master's degree once I completed my bachelor's. So it's a lot of commitment here that I've signed myself up for, but honestly, I'm always really excited when I get to talk about art history or go to a museum. So I think I made the right choice, and I'm still working on convincing other people that it's the right choice. But for me, it's pretty obvious. Just my whole life, I've loved the arts, but I've never been confident in my abilities to create them. So being able to apply the art side of my brain to situations that don't necessarily involve creating and putting my work out there, it makes a lot of sense for my personality and the way that I process things. I really consider art history to be kind of like a puzzle. You just take a look at everything that modern art is, and you can go back in history and look at what they're referencing, look at the social and political climates that the art was made during, and it might not be immediately obvious what the art is about, but once you find those context clues and you're able to dig deeper into it, then it starts making sense. And it's a lot of fun to see the way that people can interpret art, because there really is no right or wrong answer. There might be answers that are more realistic or they might make more sense, but art really is personalized based on the person who's viewing it and the experiences that they have. There's a lot of layers beneath it, and that's really what brought me into art history, is just dissecting all of that art language and pretentiousness that I totally feel. I used to be afraid to go into art museums just because of how sterile it was and how quiet you had to be. And part of what I want to do with my life and my mission is to make art accessible for people who might not have that background context and might not understand immediately. But if they could just feel the art for what it is and see it for what it is, I think really anybody can enjoy and understand art. So that's just a little bit of how I got involved and why art history is such an important topic to me. Thank you for listening to my first podcast. I hope that you were able to understand me a little bit better, and I will see you next time. Bye.